The fossilized remains of the largest penguin in history have been found. Millions of years ago, birds living on Earth were much larger than those we see today. Recently, record-breaking remains of two ancient penguin species were found. One of them, according to researchers, weighed over 150 kilograms, more than 3 times heavier than the largest penguins alive today. Scientists in New Zealand have discovered fossils of 2 previously unknown ancient penguin species. One of them was recognized by researchers as the largest penguin that has ever existed on Earth. Fossilized remains of penguins were found in New Zealand. They belonged to 2 different species. They were found in a rather interesting way. Well, at the turn of 2016 and 2017, boulders estimated to be approximately 57 million years old were discovered in North Otago, on New Zealand's South Island. However, what was definitely more interesting was what was found in these boulders, and these were penguin fossils. These birds were estimated to be between 59.5 and 55.5 million years old. This means that they lived approximately 5 to 10 million years after non-flying dinosaurs became extinct at the end of the Cretaceous. The larger of the discovered penguin species was named Kumamanu fordyce, in honor of the outstanding researcher, retired University of Otago Professor Ewan Fordyce. The smaller of the penguins was also named after a renowned scientist, Petradiptes stonehousei. The first part of the name given to it comes from the Greek words Petra, rock, and diptes, diver. The second part is a tribute to Dr. Bernard Stonehouse, who made history by being the first to observe the full reproductive cycle of emperor penguins. The second of the newly discovered penguins was more abundantly represented in the fossil record, which allowed its skeleton to be thoroughly examined. The Kumamanu fordyce fossils were particularly interesting due to their size. The found remains were scanned using lasers, which allowed their digital models to be created. Particular attention was paid to the fin bones. Their sizes were analyzed in other discovered fossils and compared to those of their counterparts in currently living birds. In this way, the degree to which they decreased was calculated, which in turn allowed the size of the newly discovered penguin species to be estimated. It was determined that these penguins must have weighed about 154 kilograms, which is more than 3 times as much as any living penguins today. The largest penguins alive today usually weigh between 22 and 45 kilograms. It turns out that even relatively small penguins from almost 60 million years ago were still larger than the largest emperor penguins alive today. Interestingly, these ancient penguin species had many elements in their anatomy that were primitive from the point of view of their modern relatives. These include thinner fin bones and muscle attachment points, which are more reminiscent of those seen in flying birds. But what did they use such sizes as Kumamanu fordyce? Well, it was simply easier for larger penguins to survive. Not only could they hunt larger prey, but it was also easier for them to maintain their body temperature in cool waters. Effects of the DART probe hitting an asteroid. In September 2022, the DART spacecraft struck the asteroid Dimorphos, a small body 160 meters in diameter. This intentional collision was intended to change the object's trajectory, in the first test of Earth's defense against the threat of asteroids from space. It was already known that the test was a success, but now scientists, thanks to data collected by various observatories, have reconstructed the impact and its aftermath and determined how effective the hit was. On September 26, 2022, telescopes around the world focused on the asteroid Dimorphos to record a historic test of our ability to defend Earth against a potentially planet-threatening asteroid. It was the first experiment conducted by humanity that aimed to change the trajectory of an object in space. The DART, Double Asteroid Redirection Test, probe hit the asteroid Dimorphos, a small body only 160 meters in diameter. Dimorphos is a moon of a larger 780-meter diameter rock called Didymos. None of these asteroids threatened Earth, but they were considered an ideal target for testing the possibility of changing the trajectory of a space object. This was the first successful test of planetary defense in which an asteroid's orbit was modified by impacting a spacecraft. Now, in a series of scientific papers published in the journal Nature, scientists describe the final moments before the DART spacecraft hit the asteroid, recreating the impact and analyzing how it changed the asteroid's momentum and orbit, and how debris from the impact behaved. After analyzing the data collected during the impact, scientists concluded that the technique used in the DART mission could actually work for an asteroid on a collision course with Earth. Small asteroids are much harder to detect than their larger cousins, and our solar system is full of debris left from the early formation of planets. We currently know of tens of thousands of smaller asteroids orbiting our planet, but these are certainly not all of these types of objects. These larger, huge boulders, which could destroy humanity if they hit Earth, have been catalogued and are under constant surveillance. The refrigerator-sized DART probe, weighing less than 600 kilograms, hit an asteroid the size of the Great Pyramid of Giza at a speed of 22,500 kilometers per hour. Before impact, Dimorphos took 11 hours and 55 minutes to orbit Didymos. Analysis of data collected by ground-based and space-based telescopes showed that the DART spacecraft changed Dimorphos' orbit by 32 minutes, shortening it to 11 hours and 23 minutes. The measurement has an uncertainty margin of approximately plus or minus 2 minutes. This result is much greater than expected. The DART impact itself created a long plume of debris trailing behind Dimorphos. Jian-Yang Li of the Planetary Science Institute and colleagues described how material was ejected by the impact and formed a 1,500 kilometer tail of debris that was on display for almost a month. Scientists determined that such a large change in orbit was not only caused by the spacecraft hitting a space rock, Most of the change was due to the recoil effect of all the ejected material flying into space, which Ariel Grakowski of the SETI Institute and colleagues estimated at between 0.3 and 0.5%. The total mass of the asteroid. Analysis of all the data collected allowed scientists to understand why the strike was so effective. One factor is that DART hit a spot about 25 meters from the asteroid's center, maximizing the force of the impact. Another is that large amounts of asteroid debris flew outward after impact. The recoil from this force pushed the asteroid further from its previous trajectory. Researchers also determined that the probe's impact reduced the speed of dimorphos by 2.7 mm per second. But thanks to the ejection of material, this effect was several times greater. NASA also released a time-lapse video from data recorded by the Hubble Space Telescope showing the impact of the collision. The footage shows surprising and violent changes as dust and debris were ejected into space. When hitting the asteroid, the DART probe, according to researchers, ejected over 1,000 tons of dust and rocks from the asteroid. The video also provides new data on how the debris was dispersed into a complex pattern in the days after the impact. Although NASA has only demonstrated the technique on one asteroid, the results could be broadly applicable to possible future similar missions, scientists say. We can quickly design a mission to change the asteroid's trajectory if such a threat exists. We know this has a very good chance of success, says Frank Marchese of the SETI Institute in Mountain View, California. Currently, scientists are continuing to work with data collected during the DART impact to learn more about the physics, chemistry and geology of dimorphos and didymos. The consequences of a relatively close-range impact will be visible at the end of 2026, when the European Space Agency's Hera probe reaches dimorphos. Mysterious mustatiles from Saudi Arabia. New research reveals their functions. In the northern areas of Saudi Arabia there are huge, 7,000-year-old rectangular structures known as mustatiles. So far, they have been a mystery to scientists because it was not entirely clear what their function was. A team of archaeologists has just published the results of a recent excavation of one of these huge structures, revealing previously unknown evidence that they were used for ritual purposes. Scientists also shed some light on ceremonial customs in ancient Saudi Arabia. Since the 1970s, monumental stone structures known as mustatile have been discovered in Saudi Arabia. However, it was only in 2017 that the first intensive and systematic research on these enigmatic monuments was undertaken, although their exact function was not determined at that time. Recent excavations in the city of Al-Ula have shown that these structures were most likely built for ritual purposes and for animal sacrifices. Built about 7,000 years ago, mustatiles are rectangular, low-walled stone structures ranging from 20 to even 600 meters in length. Mustatil is an Arabic word and means rectangle. We still know very little about these monuments, even though they were first discovered in the 1970s. The mysterious mustatiles may be one of the oldest monumental structures in the world. We currently know of over 1,600 of these structures, and they are mainly located in northern Saudi Arabia. Currently, the mustatiles are partially buried in the sand. But they were created when the environment in these places looked completely different than today. There were even lakes there then, and the current sandy areas were covered with grass. But what could the people living in this area thousands of years ago need mustatiles for? At one of such monuments, scientists found an extremely rich collection of animal bones. Human bones were also found nearby, which belonged to a man about 30 years old. The conclusion of the discovery is obvious. This place must have been used for offering sacrifices. However, it was already suspected that these buildings had some ritual or cultural significance. Melissa Kennedy from the University of Western Australia in Perth and her colleagues suggested that the inhabitants of these areas certainly noticed that the climate was starting to change. And therefore it is possible that they began to sacrifice, e.g. cattle, to appease the gods. So far, the amount of scientific work on mustatiles themselves and the beliefs associated with them has been rather sparse. So far, archaeological works have been carried out only in the vicinity of 10 of them. The recently explored mustatile is located approximately 55 kilometers east of the ancient city of Al-Ula. Its length is 140 meters and it is built of local sandstone. But what might the ritual itself look like? Researchers believe that the followers of this mysterious cult entered the mustatile from one side and went to the other, the so-called the head, where there was a sacred stone, betel, which represented the deity and could be used for communication with him. Around the sacred stone in the examined mustatile, about 260 fragments of animal bones and horns were found. Most of them belonged to domestic cattle, although some belonging to goats and gazelles were also found. Archaeologists believe that the animals were brought to the site and then killed. This is indicated primarily by the condition of the horns found. Horns and the upper parts of skulls were offered to the gods, while the remaining part of the animal's body could be eaten by worshippers during a ritual feast in the meantime. However, determining these details precisely is problematic because no other bones belonging to the sacrificed animals could be found. However, north of the head of mustatile, a burial chamber of a man aged 30 or early 40 was found. Analysis of his remains showed that he suffered from osteoarthritis. Interestingly, however, it was buried there as many as 400 years after the animals were sacrificed in mustatile. And this is a kind of rule. In the case of burials near mustatiles, the graves are always later. The Webb Telescope captures new details of the galaxy Messier 74. The James Webb Space Telescope focused its lens on the galaxy Messier 74, M74. resulting in a stunningly detailed image of one of the most spectacular galaxies visible from Earth. Webb revealed filaments of gas and dust in the spiral arms and showed an unobstructed view of the star cluster at the center of the galaxy. This galaxy was also imaged by the Hubble telescope. Data from both observatories complement each other and provide a comprehensive picture of M74. The galaxy M74, also known as NGC 628 or PGC 5974, is approximately 32 million light-years away in the constellation Pisces and is oriented so that we can see it in all its glory from Earth. This galaxy has two distinct spiral arms. Unlike the patchy and jagged structure seen in some other spiral galaxies, the clearly visible arms make this object one of the favorite targets of astronomers studying the origin and structure of spiral galaxies. The James Webb Space Telescope peered at M74 with its MIRI, mid-infrared instrument, mid to long infrared camera and spectrograph 5 to 28 microns, to learn more about the earliest stages of star formation. These observations are part of a larger effort to image 19 nearby star-forming galaxies in infrared light. This project is carried out as part of the International Cooperation PHANGS, Physics at High Angular Resolution in Near Galaxies. These galaxies have already been observed using the Hubble Space Telescope and ground-based observatories. Adding the incredibly detailed observations with the Webb Telescope will allow astronomers to pinpoint star-forming regions in galaxies, accurately measure the mass and age of star clusters, and gain insight into the nature of tiny specks of dust drifting in interstellar space. The technologies used in the Webb telescope allowed for extremely detailed imaging of the object. Webb's sharp vision revealed delicate filaments of gas and dust in magnificent spiral arms that curl outward from the center of this image. The absence of gas in the central region also provides an unobstructed view of the star clusters at the heart of the galaxy, NASA and ESA said in a statement. Webb's image shows bright against a deep space background, pinkish with a blue filaments of gas and dust swirling around the bright blue heart of the galaxy. But M74 had previously been imaged by Hubble, which captured the galaxy's spiraling blue-pinkish arms, but the object's heart came out blurry, without clear details.